one, it's very rare that a classic horror film gets a sequel that not only earns the respect of the original, that not only is as good as the original, but in some ways actually exceeds the original. Dawn of the Dead is one, as good as the original. And I personally think, at least, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is one of the great horror films of the 1980s, as good, possibly better than the original one. It's scary, it's gory, it is funny, it is one of the funniest horror comedies ever made. It is arguably one of the best political satires that come out in the 1980s. And I think it is one of the, arguably Tobe Hooper's greatest film, and one of my personal favorites. I'm thrilled to be here today. And we have two of the stars of the film who will talk a little about the experiences of making this film. First, we have Bill Moseley, say hi, ho, who you'll remember as Choptop, who was, the entrepreneur of the group, Mr. Nomland, if memory serves. And next to him, Bill Johnson, the man who plays a quiet, shy, and retiring Leatherface. So I want to start by asking, for you, before working on this film, I was curious about your familiarity with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Were you fans of the film and of Tobe Hooper before coming onto this film? Start with Mr. Mosley.
Yeah. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate an appreciation of Saw 2, by the way. I do think it's a horror classic. I actually saw the original Chainsaw probably, I think it was 1974, so maybe 12 years, maybe 76, so maybe about 10 years before Saw 2. I saw it on a double bill with Enter the Dragon at a movie theater in Boston, Massachusetts. It was an afternoon, kind of a double feature. They ran the Bruce Lee movie first. I'd never seen one of those kung fu movies, and it was really fun. And then Chainsaw came on, and just with the opening sound effects and the little weird flash pictures of a melted corpse and whatever was going on there with the violin, all that stuff, I just went, uh-oh. And I think everybody in the theater knew that this was something serious. And it freaked me out, I gotta say. I ended up getting seriously disturbed, and I was a college guy, this was, I had enough brain power to kind of, put this in perspective, but it really just sank into my soul and really freaked me out. So one of the ways that I tried to exorcise it was to watch it another dozen or so times. Figured if I saw it, 15, 16 times or whatever, it would become so familiar that it would actually not have a grip on me. And as it turned out, that just pounded that spike deeper into my brain. And so it just, it accomplished just the opposite. And finally, to exorcise it, my last attempt at exorcising was coming up with about a 4.5-minute video that I wrote and produced, I guess, called the Texas Chainsaw Manicure, which was set in a beauty parlor where a woman goes in to get a manicure and ends up getting a manicure from Leatherface. And instead of having her fingers all cut off, she gets a fantastic manicure, by the way. But Tobe Hooper, a friend of mine, gave him a copy of the manicure, and I had given myself a little cameo as the hitchhiker. And I got to hold a real piece of head cheese, which I do not recommend. And I'm like, hey, that's great, I think we should celebrate with some head cheese. And I actually licked the head cheese, and which I do not recommend. And but anyway, so that's that was me, a little cameo, and that's what Tobe saw, and that's how I got hired. I never auditioned for the movie. Tobe hired me on the basis of that Chainsaw Manicure. So that's a long way of saying that's my experience. And Bill,
what was the question?
The question was, this year, were you familiar at all with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, before going on this?
No, I heard about the audition, and I went out and saw the movie. I rented it, and I was afraid to get up out of my chair after watching it, because it didn't seem that scary on the outside, but something really inside got to me. There was something really frightening about that film.
So how does one audition as Leatherface? I mean, do they have, like a couple of chainsaws in there, you're just twirling around, or?
No, I think a lot of auditions go with sort of a telepathy thing. That they're hoping for the right actor to come in who's receiving them. And if that actor shows, they just work enough people to come through the door, so eventually they'll get it. So I'm assuming that's what happened. It's something connected, and the role made sense to me in some way that the writer and the director liked. Plus, they were looking for someone of the same sort of body type as Gunnar, who was really taller than I am, he was like 6'5" or something. And he said, "Bill, we have an audition for someone who looks like Baby Huey." Yeah, okay, that's me. So, did you see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? No, I don't saw it in there. So there's sort of a bowling pin kind of shape there, and I was sort of shaped like that. So I went in and I don't know exactly, it was with Carolyn. And she was just great to audition with. She had all that wonderful energy and contact. She was Carolyn Miller, yeah. And incredible. I was there auditioning with her, and she'd do her piece, and she'd want to see it again. So we would go, okay. Want to see it again? Okay. That was like 40 times. Incredible energy. And
Did you chase her?
I think it was more about sort of, I guess, a sort of danger and an energy of making the room feel dangerous for a moment. And I think the others, they wanted to see the softer side of Leatherface.
Well, yeah, because Leatherface falls in love.
Leather falls in love, and they won't let him have a girlfriend.
Right. I was curious, because one of the great things about the film is that it's a horror film that actually has a decent literate script to it. I mean, it was written by Kit Carson, who had just done Paris, Texas, which had won the grand prize for Wim Wenders, just won the grand prize at the Cannes Film Festival. And that's where a lot of the humor, a lot of the satire of the movie is from the script. And I was just curious, was the humor in the script, was that always an integral part of it, or did the humor gradually develop as the movie was going along? Was it all that in there from the very beginning? I mean, at least from the point where you go.
The original script I read had a lot more satire. A lot more satire, black humor. Obsidian with laugh. And then it became less satirical and more twisted. Sort of twisted.
We also ended up improvising a lot.
Yeah, Bill,
We had a lot of,
improvise.
it seemed there was a lot of improvising, and what Kit would do was, very smartly, he would sit there and tape record all of our improvisations, and then after we were done with the scene, he would rush out and type them. And, so that he ended up at the end of production, he ended up with a whole new script.
It was great. I had a little Royal portable. He had the entrance of the set. Type in, "Here, Jim, memorize this."